The Bryce Underwood era is officially underway in Ann Arbor. Michigan may have beaten New Mexico 34-17, but this opener was far from perfect. From flashes of brilliance on offense to defensive hiccups, there's a lot to unpack from week one and a lot to watch for as Michigan heads to Norman to face Oklahoma. Freshman quarterback Bryce Underwood did exactly what Michigan fans hoped he would. He played like a seasoned veteran, completed 21 of 31 passes for 250 yards and 1 touchdown, had a 67% completion percentage, with most incompletions being catchable balls rather than poor throws. He showed excellent timing, decision making, and poise. Not a typical freshman debut by any measure. Michigan, traditionally a hard-nosed, ground and pound program, ran for 200 yards in the opener, but consistency was an issue outside of Justice Haynes' explosive plays. Jordan Marshall struggled, averaged just 2 yards per carry, raising questions about how the Wolverines will perform against tougher defenses. The offensive line did its job at times, but sustaining blocks over the course of a full game will be crucial if Michigan wants to open up the run game for more than just the highlight reels. The defense, meanwhile, had its own story, dominating at times, but also giving up big plays and sustained drives that will need addressing before facing a stronger opponent like Oklahoma. The Wolverines' front seven set the tone, holding New Mexico's rushing attack to just 51 yards, while registering a 90.5 overall Pro Football Focus grade in run defense, with Alabama transfer Damon Payne Jr. being a key standout in the trenches. On the day, the Wolverines recorded 3 sacks, 3 interceptions, and 9 tackles for loss. But the story isn't all positives. New Mexico found success with quick passes, screens, and motion plays, similar to what Texas had done against Michigan last season. While most of the Wolverines' defense impressed, some players struggled, including cornerback Josiah Edmond in coverage, recording a 46 Pro Football Focus grade. Overall, Michigan's defense showed flashes of dominance, but they'll need to clean up these occasional lapses before facing a top-tier opponent like Oklahoma. And the schedule only gets more difficult from there. Later down the line, they'll see USC, an offense that finished second in the Big Ten last season and led the conference in passing. And the Trojans didn't just win week one. They annihilated Missouri State 73-13, putting up their most points in nearly a century. Then comes Washington, a team that ranked 6th in total offense last season. And finally, the showdown everyone circles on the calendar, Ohio State. The Buckeyes, a perennial powerhouse that never fails to roll out a top 20 offense. The takeaway? This defense can't afford lapses. Every misstep, blown assignment, missed tackle will be magnified against these high-powered offenses. The Wolverines' defensive struggles that looked manageable in week one suddenly become glaring problems. Next up, Michigan travels to Norman to face Oklahoma. This will be the Wolverines' first true road game against an SEC opponent and the first meeting between these historic programs since the 1975 Orange Bowl. Odds makers currently list Michigan as a 5-point underdog. Add into the challenge, linebacker Jashaw Barham will miss the first half due to a targeting penalty called on his hit against New Mexico QB Jack Lane. Barham finished second on the team in tackles last year, making his absence a significant loss for Michigan's defense. With Barham sidelined early and a tougher opponent on the horizon, this game will test Bryce Underwood and Michigan's offense against a more dynamic defense, while the Wolverines' defense will need to hold strong despite the temporary lineup change. Week 1 showed what Michigan can do at its best: precision passing, explosive runs, and opportunistic defense. But it also exposed weaknesses, defensive lapses, and inconsistent rushing outside of Haynes. This team is talented and has a promising quarterback in Underwood, but the real question is whether Michigan can clean up the inconsistencies and perform against elite competition in week 2.